smoking in campus area and why it's time to stop. When we talk about university life, we usually imagine a place full of energy, students chatting in the hall, people working on projects, hanging out at the canteen, maybe stressing over deadline, but still chasing the dreams. It's supposed to be a place that builds not only our knowledge but also our habits and future lifestyle. But then there's one thing that can ruin that image: smoking on campus. Now, I'm not here to judge anyone personally because I get it. Everyone has their own reasons. Some people smoke to calm down, to release stress, or simply because it's a habit they can easily stop. But here's the thing: when it happens inside the campus area, it doesn't just affect the smoker. Affects it affects everyone around, and that's where the problem begins. First of all, let's talk about the most obvious issue: health. Cigarette smoke isn't just a harmless puff of air, it's full of toxic stuff. Scientists say there are more than 7,000 chemicals in cigarette smoke, and many of them can cause cancer or lung disease. The sad part, you don't even have to smoke to get the effect. If you're standing near someone who's smoking, you're already breathing in the same dangerous air. That's what we call second-hand smoker. Imagine trying to study in a clean space, but you end up inhaling something that could mess with your lung in the long run. It's not fair for non-smoker, and it's definitely not something that should happen in a place that meant for learning and growing. Then there's the environmental side of it. Have you ever noticed how many cigarette butts scattered around campus? On the stair, near bench, or hidden between tiles. Those little things might look harmless, but they're actually made of plastic, and don't go away quickly. It can take years for a cigarette butt to decompose. Meanwhile, it leaks chemical into the soil and water. So even if someone throws it on the ground thinking, it's just a small trash, it still contributes to pollution. A university should represent progress and awareness, not a place littered with reminders of bad habits. Another big thing that bothers me is the influence it has on others, especially younger students. Maybe freshmen who just got into college, when they see groups of people casually smoking around campus, start to feel normal. Some might even think it look mature or cool, which can lead them to try it for themselves. But let's be honest, there's nothing cool about slowly poisoning your body and getting addicted to something that controls you. Campus should be a space that encourages self-improvement, not self-destruction. And I think what makes this issue even more frustrating is how it disrespects personal space. Not everyone can handle cigarette smoke. Some people have asthma, allergy, or other health issue that can get triggered just from being around it. Even for those who don't, the smell can be really unpleasant. You could be sitting outside trying to relax, eat, or study, and suddenly the air around you changes completely. Everyone has the right to breathe a clean air, especially in a place they spend hours every day. Smoking freely on campus takes away that comfort from others. Now, I know some people might say, but it's my body, my choice. And yeah, that's true to some extent. But freedom also comes with responsibility. Your choice should harm or inconvenience others. If you really want to smoke, that's your personal decision, but do it in a proper designated place where you're not affecting anyone else. That's the balance between freedom and respect. Some campuses already have smoking zones, place away from classroom or crowds, and honestly, that's a great compromise. Everyone get their space and nobody gets hurt. At the end of the day, smoking in campus areas isn't just about a small rule or policy. It's about what kind of environment we want to live and learn in. A smoke-free campus means a cleaner, healthier, and more respectful space for everyone. It shows that we care not just about or grades or deadlines, but about each other well-being. Maybe it's time we as students start speaking about it more, not by blaming or shaming anyone, but by spreading awareness and encouraging better habits. Imagine walking around campus without the smell of cigarettes, seeing green grass without litter, and breathing fresh air while hanging out with friends. That's the kind of place that inspires focus, creativity, and growth. So yeah, to sum it all up, smoking on campus should stop, not because we want to take away someone's freedom, but because we want to protect what's shared, our air, our health, and our respect for one another. A smoke-free campus isn't just a rule, it's a reflection of the kind of community we want to build together. That's Valley. Peace be upon you. Bye. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about adverb of frequency. This topic is actually very simple, but it's super important because we use it almost every day. When we describe our habits, our routines. So in this presentation, I'll explain what adverbs of frequency are, why they matter, and how to use them correctly, and give some examples so you can easily understand it. So let's start. What are adverbs of frequency? Adverbs of frequency are words that tell us how often an action happens. They basically show the frequency of something happen, like whether you do it every day, sometimes, or almost never. We use them in daily conversation without even realizing it. For example, when you say I always eat breakfast or I rarely play basketball, those words always, rarely are adverb of frequency. Why are they important? These adverbs are important because they help us describe routines clearly instead of giving long explanation. We can simply use an adverb of frequency to show the level of repetition. They make our sentences more natural and easier to understand. Imagine saying, I do this many times every week. It's easier to just say, I often do this. So these words makes our communication more efficient and smooth. There are several common adverbs of frequency that we use in English, such as always, usually, often, frequently, sometimes, occasionally, hardly, rarely, and never. Each of those represent different percentage of how often something happens. For example, always mean 100% and never means 0%. If we place these adverbs on a scale from most frequent to least frequent, the order will look like this. Understanding this simple scale helps you choose the right word depending on how often something happens in real life. Now let's talk about where we place adverb of frequency in a sentence. The most basic rule is that adverb of frequency usually come before the main verb. For example, I often read books, and he always bringing that unique gadget. So just remember, if the sentence has a normal verb, the adverb goes before it. There is one exception. You need to remember when the first is to be, such as am, is, or are. The adverb comes after the verb. For example, she is always happy. We are never late. He was usually very happy. This is a common mistake for English learner, so it's a good rule to keep in mind. Here are some quick examples using different adverbs of frequency. I always wake up early. They often play games. He is never late. We sometimes study together. We usually get lunch around this time. This example shows that adverb of frequency can be used in many types of sentences. Adverb of frequency can also be used in question. Usually they come after the subject in the question. For example, do you often exercise? Are you guys always going on vacation? This structure helps the listener clearly understand what the question is focusing on. For negative sentence, the adverb still goes before the main verb. For example, I don't usually eat breakfast. We often not using I for learning. Even though the sentence is negative, the placement rule stays the same. To use adverb of frequency correctly, here are a few tips. First, think about how often the action occurs. Second, choose the adverb that best matches the frequency. Third, remember the verb to be exception. And for our summary, to summarize everything, adverb of frequency tell us how often something happens. Normally place them before the main verb, and after the verb to be. Examples include always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, and never. And that's it. With this simple rule, you can describe your routine clearly and sound more natural in English. And that's all for my presentation. Bye.